in the middle of this pandemic. We beg Allah Ta'ala, Al-Jabbar, the all-dominating one, the all-powerful one, and also Al-Jabbar means the one who heals and reinforces the weakness, the one who strengthens the weakness. Like the one who has a broken bone, he needs Jabr, he needs someone to fix the broken bone. So we turn to Allah Ta'ala as broken people, in need of Him, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, and we ask Him to aid us. We ask Allah Ta'ala to provide relief to us and to alleviate this hardship. And we, at this time, don't think only of ourselves. We think of our children, we think of our elders, we think of our brothers and sisters in prison who are sadly being made to stay in their cells for the vast majority of the day. And their freedoms, which were already very few, are taken from them even more now these days. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to be with them and to grant them patience and to make this an opportunity for improvement for them, to give them success. And we ask Allah Ta'ala that He take care of our youth. Alhamdulillah, we have wives, we have children, we have the warmth of a family around us. Have you thought, dear brothers and sisters who enjoy this blessing, have you thought about what it is to be living alone in this time? Have you thought about the young unmarried Muslims and what they face of solitude, of being alone and not having the warmth of a family around them? We ask Allah Ta'ala to alleviate their burden. We ask Allah Ta'ala to give them strength. And have you thought about our sick brothers and sisters? There are people coughing. There are people only alive because of a breathing machine by the permission of Allah. We ask Allah Ta'ala to aid them and to strengthen them. Have you thought about our elders who, if they're not sick and suffering right now, they are extremely worried about getting this virus and what it may do to them? May Allah Ta'ala cure their fear. May Allah Ta'ala bless them and grant them success and confidence that there is no power and no ability except through Allah Ta'ala. Have you thought of your du'at, your teachers, your shuyukh, your scholars, their families? We have in the West, from the callers, we have the family of our brother Ustadh Umar Quinn. Some of his family members have been affected by the virus. And as well, Al-Ustadh Kashif Khan. May Allah Ta'ala bless them both and their family members. And we have our dear respected Ustadh Abu Anisa Abdul Hakim, حفظه Ta'ala. May Allah the Most High preserve him. He's facing a difficult situation at this time. So we call upon Al-Jabbar to alleviate his burden, to strengthen his lungs, to return him to good health, to give him strength in his words and in his call, and to expiate for him all of his sins, and to alleviate the burden upon his family and the hardships they face in this time, and to be with them, and to reward them. Ask Allah Ta'ala to rectify our souls, and to correct us, and to guide us. And I ask my brothers and sisters in Islam that if they come across speech that has to do with conspiracy and inaccurate reporting of numbers, interference with reporting of numbers, and inflated or manipulated statistics, and scaremongering by governments, that we remember to fear Allah Ta'ala. This issue has gone to the scholars of Al-Islam. There is no room for this speech at this point. I advise you sincerely, for the sake of Allah, to abandon this speech and to return to mentioning things that benefit you and those who listen to you. Allah Ta'ala has said, وَإِذَا جَاءَهُمْ أَمْرٌ مِنَ الْأَمْنِ أَوِ الْخَوْفِ أَذَاعُوا بِهِ. When a matter of public concern or safety comes to them, they announce it, they spread it, meaning incorrectly, and it's not their place to spread it. وَلَوْ رَدُّوهُ إِلَى الرَّسُولِ وَإِلَى أُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنْهُمْ لَعَلِمَهُ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَنْبِطُونَهُ مِنْهُمْ. And if they would only have returned it back to the messenger and to those in authority among them, then the ones who know how to extract the rulings properly would have known that. وَلَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَتُهُ لَاتَّبَعْتُمُ الشَّيْطَانَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. And had it not been for the favor of Allah upon you all, and for His mercy upon you, you would have certainly followed after the shaitan except for a few. Meaning, dear brothers and sisters, if it weren't for the grace of Allah upon you and His mercy, you would have spoken about matters of public concern when it was not your place. You would have not returned the matters back to the messenger and to those in authority among you, but rather you would have taken it upon yourselves to speak of those matters. And you would follow the footsteps of the shaitan in such a case. We ask Allah Ta'ala for safety. I advise you to abandon these kinds of discussions. Abandon them. It is obvious how serious the affair is that we face today. It is obvious how incorrect and how counterproductive all of that speech has been and remains to be. And it should be extremely obvious to you now how hurtful and insensitive that discussion is when people have family members that are in the ICU, in critical care units of the hospitals, or families that have lost someone already to this virus. We ask Allah Ta'ala to guide our tongues and to give us direction and guidance and to forgive us for where we have erred. For I can advise you. I'm your brother and I could advise you privately, and I can advise you publicly, and I can advise you gently, and I can advise you with harshness out of love for you and concern for you. And I can reprimand you, and I can raise my voice to you and tell you to fear Allah. And all of this is what I can do for you. But I cannot remove the blood that will be on your hands if you speak with words that harm the Muslims. I cannot alleviate your burden on the day of judgment. No one can. You stand in front of Allah Ta'ala, and I cannot take the hatred of Allah from upon you. And I could not take the hatred of the servants of Allah upon you, if this is what you have earned. So fear Allah Ta'ala. Return back to issues of creed. Return back to issues of deen. Return back to issues of manhaj. Return back to learning and reminding our brothers and sisters with issues of this deen which are beneficial, that have no such associated hardship or harm in them. Return back to issues of tawheed. At-tawheed, at-tawheed, ya du'at al-Islam. Call to the oneness of Allah. Call to the oneness of Allah, O you who call to al-Islam. We ask Allah Ta'ala to correct our souls and to guide our souls and to cleanse our hearts and to guide our actions. This is what Allah Ta'ala has made easy for us at this time. Wallahu a'lam, and Allah knows best. وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.